Hello and welcome to Food of the Future. We are here to talk with Rob, Matilda, and Mateusz on how should the food change to match the challenges of humans and humanity. My name is Michał, and I'm from Food Tech AC, a leading accelerator here in CE for food tech startups. Today with me, we have accelerators, startups, and investors to tell us more about the subject. So if you guys could start with the round of introduction, maybe Rob, if you could kick off.
Hi everybody. Thank you for such a great event. Really enjoying being attendee on the other side of the screen. Really impressed with the organisation and the quality of the people and all the brands, and the chat that's going on is fantastic. I'm from London, UK, and I'm a farmer turned food business guy. I work with the Department of International Trade as well in agri-food tech, and my specialisation is now food tech and ag tech, and I help businesses find the best way to grow, including investment.
Thank you very much, Rob. Nice to have you here, Matilda.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Matilda. I lead Listny Cud. This is one of the first Polish vertical farming companies. We started in October last year. We are based in Warsaw, and we've built very first in-store vertical farms in Poland. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for being with us. And last but not least, Mateusz.
Good morning, good afternoon. In fact, everyone, my name is Mateusz Kloc, and I represent Hejka Capital Markets Group as an investment fund. And what we do, we structure financing also in food tech sector, providing private capital and public capital for projects, and we work mainly in commercialization phase with startups. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Mateusz. I hope we're going to have a great conversation today with again accelerators, startups, and investors on the future of food. I would like to start with a few numbers just to get you guys into the subject. I don't know if you know about a lot about food tech and investments into food tech, so I would like to share my screen to show you a thing or two from the latest AgTech report 2021 released just a few weeks back. So when it comes to the number, the number of money which is poured into food tech investments, as you can see, it's growing year by year to reach $30 billion last year only, and venture capital and early stage startups. When it comes to exits, now this might be very interesting to most of you guys. Only last year, IPOs only in last year jumped up to $30 billion, and that's only 2020. You can see the jump from 5 in previous year, which is quite significant. So that's that. And first question to Rob. Rob, can you tell us a little bit more about what food tech is and why is it so important to us and you personally? The microphone, please.
Sorry. Yeah, food tech is where across all the board, the same with all the technology sectors, it's the same but it applies to food in the way that what you've got is something that is a scalable technology, that is an invention that is going to transform a marketplace around, in this case, specifically food. But often these technologies are quite similar to other sectors like fintech. So in the UK, a key the world food tech, there's a key growth area called traceability, which is closely linked to blockchain or digital ledger. So what we're seeing is that technology as a whole is crossing over in various different ways. But for food tech, we are talking about a disruptive technology that is scalable and therefore meeting a large demand. Obviously, the last year we've had this incredible Holocaust that's hit us all, and but one of the things that's really accelerated, hence those graphs there, is this interest in how we eat, how we grow our food, how we manufacture our food, how efficient can it be, how do we connect with it as a consumer, and how we can buy it differently and more efficiently. And and this was already happening, but what's happened is that COVID has accelerated the space, and with that is coming an absolute wave of investors looking to get into this area. And with that, you're going to get more and more brands that are looking to be part of it. So it's just like where fintech was 5 years ago, maybe possibly even 10, is that this sector is coming on hard. It's also a collision of amazing other issues such as climate change, and food tech can make a huge impact on reducing carbon footprints where relevant. And then you've got the UN sustainability goals, the impact funds that sit around us. Everything is aligned for this sector to absolutely boom. I've been in it all my life, so it's as if I've been preparing. I've been in rehearsal for 50 years nearly. So it's super exciting for me.
So you might say that people are getting into this not only because it can deliver great revenues for investors, but also it can help to solve out some bigger issues there, and those issues have spaced up recently because of COVID.
We all have to eat. I mean, I'm really passionate about food. Sometimes I eat it 3 times a day. I'm that passionate, and so that's the common denominator for everybody. There's one thing we can't do without is food. There's other things we can't do without, but it's pretty important to have food. And then you think about how it's all affecting us. The people that have done well from a immunity perspective from COVID, and all this data will come out of the wash as things finally get worked out. People that are fit and well and eating healthily and having good lifestyles have dealt with this far better than people that haven't. And this is the issue. It's what we eat, when we eat, the functional benefits. Matilda there is talking about vertical farming guarantee. She's talking about really nutritious, healthy food, very freshly picked, all these things that are so critical to actually rethinking our lifestyles and how we live for the future. It's also how developing countries can be leveled up. We're seeing amazing new ways of trading and transactional ways of recording transactions in developing countries, which they never had before. It's a great privilege in our Western society to have ways of recording our income and to be able to leverage that to get a mortgage, for instance, or a loan. Well, that's not been possible until recently, until many developing countries now got access to recording their income through digital ledgers. That is then creating a whole new financial markets there. So this is my point about the crossing over of different technologies, from fintech to marketing to pharmaceutical and food biotechnology. These things are really significant, and I see it as a continuous chain from production to consumption. So we talk about ag tech and food tech, but for now we're talking about specifically food tech. But it is all about that digital integration. There's unbelievable amount of money that's wasted in the industry by old practices, and food tech is revolutionizing the space. So quite often you're not just trying to create a new market, you're just trying to do what we're doing now already better, more efficiently. So there's the productivity gains here are critical, and equally, it's not a stereotype, but there's number around we have to double our food production and halve our carbon footprint of that food we've doubled in production. That's a 400% increase in our reduction of what our carbon footprint is today for food, and that's only going to be achieved by these amazing new technologies that are being developed.
You touched a really important subject there, and I think it's important that we talked about it a little bit longer. What might be the other big challenges that humanity faces and food tech can help out with? Maybe Matilda, you can answer that one.
Yep. So as Rob mentioned, we all eat, and this is a basic human being thing. And when we add with developing countries, there are millions of people more every year ready to spend their money on protein-rich, diversified food. And this is one of the reasons why this need for change is becoming more and more urgent in recent years. For example, we too often get unhealthy food, all of us, both in Western countries and in developing countries. We get unhealthy food produced in a way that is unhealthy for our planet. An example is deforestation of Amazon jungle. 80% of the deforestation is due to making space for growing crops that we later feed to animals. And those crops are often very protein rich. So this is very uneconomical process because we cut down very precious forests to feed animals, while with all the soybeans we grow currently, we could feed 4 billion of people. This is, as I said, this is totally uneconomical. We currently from 13 kilograms of protein-rich eatable crops, we get 1 kilogram of beef meat. And this is just one of the examples of the challenges that we are facing currently with the food sector. 90% of the crops that are sold for commercial grow are now controlled by 4 companies. So we simply don't have enough resources to continue this way. So food tech is growing, and all around the world, people are looking for solutions to provide the much more food, as Rob mentioned, because we will need much more food, but also food that is healthy and tasty, both for current and future customers.
Okay, that's great, and I think the environmental issues are really important, and I care about them deeply. But we're at the investors conference, so maybe let's hear the investors take on this. You guys seen the numbers, and you've seen that it's growing rapidly. But could you tell us, Mateusz, why are you at Hejka Group investing into food tech, and what do you hope to get out of this?
I think maybe I will take a look from the macroeconomic level, and I share the opinion of Matilda and Rob that we should invest there because there is a high demand for innovation in this sector, and there is a massive urgency to change the way the things are done nowadays, and to repeat that there's no bigger industry in our planet than food and agriculture, and with a consistent and loyal customer base of 7 billion people. So from that perspective, it's a huge opportunity. And in my opinion, during last years, this sector was very underestimated among investment funds when you compare it to the IT sector, to the AI. So we are breaking the status quo right now, and there's a lot to be done there. The food and agriculture consists of 10% of the global GDP. So everyone can just imagine how big is that, and when more from that macroeconomic level, again, the global population is also growing, and food demand is expected to increase by 50-70% in the next 30 years. So that's the huge shift, and we should take care of that. And so to simplify, we'll have more people to feed, and at the same time we need to decrease that negative environmental impact which food makes to our planet. and this is the massive challenge for us.
Okay, one question here, because it always it's brought up with our investors that investing in food is not as scalable as investing into IT. It requires a lot of funds being dumped into hardware. I can see Rob wants to answer that one. So how would you mitigate those negative?
Food tech is not food products. It could be a food product that comes out of it as a result of the tech, but it's not a CPG product, as it's known as consumable purchased goods. It's not that. It is an innovation that is very scalable. The challenge has been, and why it's probably been slow, and we probably would have seen, is that you have to break a pattern that's there already in, say, the supply chain. But as an example, we're working with a business where they are completely digitalizing an order processing side that will also include machine learning and predictive ordering, and also they're modeling out all their stock control. And that's a great food tech business. It's substantially reducing the costs that were there. And then the next layer on top of that is that there's a traceability system or a way that their customer can now see what's going on. And in food, because it's an emotional purchase, we don't eat, you know, if we didn't eat emotionally, we'd eat very ordinary food every day. We do eat emotionally. We need to know where it comes from. So within that digitalized system, it's then having, for instance, information about where it is and how it's made. I've made some points about the inefficiencies of some systems, but there are good systems and bad systems, and part of food tech is unraveling is what's good and bad even within the same type of thing. And it is very scalable. These are all international businesses, possibly more European, Western, North American, but what we're seeing in areas like Singapore and Australia, New Zealand, they're moving very quickly. And actually, there's no reason why China won't adopt that too, because the profitability is important and it's achieving greater profitability. But you just got to change the system to do it, and I guess that's the sticking point.
All right, thank you. Having said that, I think it's important to talk about other things which is connected to investors' reluctance to this particular industry, and that is, and we've seen it in Poland repeatedly, that it's hard to attract, even though if you have a great product, great team, it's hard to attract experienced teams. People are not yet willing to move from the highly scalable businesses from there into food tech. So what's your take on this, Rob?
I think that has been a problem, but that's more to do with the traction with the customer. So that's something we are working on. We are running an event where we've got Barclays Bank that are hosting with their large food manufacturers in the UK, their clients, a whole range of food tech innovations to help fast track those businesses. So getting in quickly and early is where we're working at. So creating mechanisms that do make get that connection and break through to then get that traction. That's something we're working on. I think that's part of the reason why there's been some resistance from both investors and people being attracted to the industry. I think it's a great industry to be in, but the world has fallen over, and this is a very good long-term career path here. So I think as well, and I think here's a great question from Matilda then, because she's the CEO and she's in it hopefully for life. Is it difficult
basing on the things that you just said, to run a food tech startup here in Poland?
Well, on one hand, as you've mentioned, this is a new sector, and we can see this kind of reluctancy. There are simply not a lot of VC funds with food tech in scope of their investment yet, hopefully. We are going now for the seed series financing, and we can see that when we are approaching some VCs. But on the other hand, even within those few months, this last 2 quarters, we can see a significant change, because this is a very vibrant sector, growing very rapidly, and we have customers approaching us and showing interest. We have media who are reaching out to us to talk about this new sector, talk about vertical farming and food tech in general. And we have potential business partners who are also showing interest. So there are all the pros and cons of being the very first, or one of the very first in the market. Yes, sometimes it is challenging, but it is also very exciting.
One of the pros is a potential very big win at the end. We've heard how the market is growing, and we keep our fingers crossed for Matilda and Listne Cud. So what other what other food tech startups do you think will be booming within the next couple of years? We have here investors with us. What do you guys think they should throw their money at, or I don't know, look at? I think maybe Mateusz could shed light here.
From the helicopter view, what we look at from the angle, we look at the productivity, so to make things cheaper and quicker. We look at the quality, so to no sugar, no additives, no products which are not modified. And the third is the sustainability, so no meat, reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. So those is from the helicopter view. And when we look at the types of the projects, so first of all, there are plant-based and animal-free products, products, and I think the prices of such products decreases, and this sensorial quality increases. So I think this sector will gain big popularity among consumer groups. So that's the first one. Then we look at the service robots, restaurant digitalization. So this is the big boom, especially nowadays during the COVID. And plastic free, that's also, we also categorize this in the food sector. And functional beverages, we are involved in such projects. We are involved in kombucha projects. There are many new ingredients like cannabis, like mushrooms, MCT, fibers, and a lot of other products. And I think there is a space for smaller companies. We are breaking the status quo right now in the food sector, and there is a space and there is a moment to do this right now. I think those are the most important ones. And in the end, I will add what Rob said about I think that everything is in the end is the sales channel. So that's the challenge in the food sector, because when you are small and you've got technology and you can't scale, you do not have money. It's quite difficult to go to the big chains of groceries. And that's what we try to help to overcome startups with that. I mean, we work with startups with technologies, but from day one we work with with the providers of sales channels. That's our recipe for success.
I think that's spot on. I think the other areas that are adding are really utilizing the new thinking around food because of what's been going on, by way of, how we experience our food and how we share it within our communities. So digital platforms that enable that, as well as even how we grow things. Grow your own has become really exciting. So even people getting passionate about growing their own produce. I'm in a balcony in central London, and we've got the lettuce growing out the front. I'm not competing with you, Matilda, just saying, but it's good that I care about where it comes from. It's the same type of thinking that you want, I guess. And then digital ideas that connect all of that space. You call the omni-channel one of the best growth areas is how bricks and mortar stores can develop their omni-channel. So a business that's listening to this, that might be thinking about how to help retailers move into the omni-channel in a really, really smart way. Previously, it's been quite clunky and average. So finding digital solutions for existing retailers who have had a really tough year, but actually the ones that are keen to get their online channel moving, their direct-to-consumer channel, they're doing really well. And that tech needs to get cleverer and cleverer and cleverer, and the more it does, the better. The biggest food tech business in the UK is Ocado. Started as a retailer, but now it's selling its technology all over the world. It's now, I think, it's 16 billion pounds or whatever you want to call it, to 20 billion euro business. So, or value by valuation. So yeah, there's a lot going on in that space, and there's a lot to do as well, particularly around predictive modeling for food.
Thanks so much, Rob. Guys, we're running out of time, so just again, we're at the investors conference. So if you could just give each of you to give the investors a place to start if they're not familiar with food tech at all, just one particular, startup or a part of business they should look at if they want to get started with food tech. What would it be? One thing.
Okay, I would. It's temptation is high to say Listnitsut, but I would say look at the customers' needs. Look how they are evolving rapidly within the last few years, and follow that, because they are your customers and their money.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the easiest sector to attract investors is dietary supplements, because it is quite scalable when you compare it to other food products.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah, supporting that, and specifically to the new silver tech. So my mum, mid-70s, never touched a computer, never bought online, always would love to go to the supermarket. Now buys everything online, and loves it. So there's a whole big generation, particularly in the UK, of people in there over 65, over 75, that now want technology to help buy their food. And they also want healthy, nutritious food. So supporting Matthias's point, there's a really, really open market there for a good opportunity. And they've got money to spend, and they care a lot about their health.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure to discuss the subject with you. Rob from Forward Food Tech, Matilda from Listnitsut, and Mateusz from Heyka Capital Group here on Food of the Future. It's been a pleasure, guys, and hope to see you again soon at Wolf Summit. If anybody from the audience wants to contact us, I think we're available at Hopin soon. So again, have a good day and nothing but profitable investments. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.